Every flicker, every vibration, it was spelling something. The house was trying to speak. The house on Wycliffe Lane was never supposed to be special. Just another quiet, two-story home on a sleepy street with peeling paint and a wind chime that never stopped moving. But the people who lived there swore it had a heartbeat. It started as soft, random tapping inside the walls, barely noticeable. At first, they thought it was just the pipes expanding from the cold, or maybe mice. But every night, exactly at 2:43 a.m., the tapping returned. 3 short taps, 3 long, 3 short, SOS. They didn't realize it was Morse code until their teenage son Tyler looked it up online. He played around with the pattern, listening closely, writing each tap down. When he decoded the message, he laughed nervously. It says, "Help me." The family didn't sleep that night. They called an electrician, a pest control guy, even a priest. Everyone had the same reaction after being inside for a while. They'd pause mid-sentence, look around, and whisper, "Do you hear that?" The sound wasn't loud. It was subtle, almost polite, like someone knocking from far away. Within a week, the taps grew longer, clearer. Words began forming, names. The first name spelled out was Catherine, then Mark, then David. The problem? Those names matched people who had disappeared from the same county over the past 30 years. By the time the local police were called, the family was sleeping in their car. The officers walked through the house with flashlights, but nothing moved, nothing spoke. No loose wires, no critters, no prankster neighbor. One officer even joked, "If the walls start talking again, tell them I'm not on call." The next night, the taps came back, louder. Tyler, curious and terrified, placed his phone against the wall and hit record. What he caught made national headlines 2 months later. The recording was 37 seconds long. You could hear him whispering, "Okay, start now." Then the taps began, fast, urgent. When translated, the message read, "I'm in the walls." After that, the family left the house for good. That's when the story caught the attention of the Hollow Creek Paranormal Society, a small team of investigators who claimed to specialize in residual energy phenomena. Among them was a man named Dr. Elias Warren, a neuroscientist turned researcher. He was known for saying ghosts weren't spirits, but echoes of consciousness trapped in material memory. When Warren heard the recordings, he said something that chilled the crew. If these taps are real Morse, then someone, or something, is thinking. They arrived at the house a week later. Cameras, motion sensors, microphones placed across every room, everything powered by a silent generator outside. At 2:43 a.m., the first tap came, then another, then dozens, echoing from every wall like synchronized heartbeats. The transcription read, "He's awake." Warren leaned closer to the wall, eyes narrowed. "Who's awake?" he whispered. The wall replied, "The one you put here." Everyone froze. They thought it was a coincidence until one of the microphones picked up faint breathing from inside the drywall. The next morning, they cut a hole near the source of the sound. What they found wasn't a person. It was metal. Old, thin copper wiring wound in a spiral pattern, almost like veins. And embedded between them, something organic. It looked like dried tissue connected to the wiring as if grown together over time. Warren didn't speak for several minutes. Finally, he muttered, "This isn't a haunting. It's a network." The rest of the team didn't understand what he meant. But that night, they heard the tapping again. This time, it wasn't random. It pulsed in rhythm, a perfect match to the human brain's alpha waves during REM sleep. Warren recognized it immediately. He turned pale. It's mimicking a dream. The house wasn't haunted. It was remembering. It had absorbed memories, thoughts, maybe even the consciousness of those who had lived or died within its walls. The copper wiring wasn't part of any construction. It was something older, deliberate, maybe experimental. When they compared building permits, they found something else. The house was constructed over the remains of an unfinished research facility shut down in 1959. A project once overseen by Dr. Elias Warren himself. He looked at the old documents, silent for a long time, then said, almost in a whisper, I didn't build this one, but someone took my design. That night at 2:43 a.m., the tap started again, only this time they didn't spell words. They formed long, irregular bursts, chaotic, frantic. It took hours to decode. The final message read, "He's in the foundations." The crew began to panic. One of them, Rachel, begged to leave, but Warren insisted they stay. "We're close," he said. "It's communicating." "We have to listen." The cameras started glitching. The audio recorders hissed with static. In one feed, you could see a figure, faint, transparent, walking along the corridor. But when they checked the room, no one was there. Rachel screamed. The tapping was now coming from beneath the floor. They pried open the old wooden boards, revealing a dark, narrow tunnel. The air smelled like iron and rot. Warren climbed down first with a flashlight. At the end of the tunnel, there was a wall of concrete with faint letters etched into it. The same Morse symbols, dots and dashes, carved deep. Warren traced them with his fingers and realized they spelled one word, Warren. He stumbled backward, flashlight trembling. Then came a low, deep pounding from behind the concrete, slow, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. Rachel shouted for him to get out. He didn't move. The pounding grew louder, closer. The camera feed upstairs went black. The last thing heard over the radio was Warren whispering, "It's awake." When police arrived the next morning, the tunnel was empty. No sign of the team. The equipment was found shattered, wires melted. The only thing intact was a single audio recorder still running. On playback, the first sound was tapping. When translated, it spelled, "Help me." Then a pause. "He's in me." The house was sealed off a week later, labeled unsafe for habitation. But the neighbors still report hearing soft tapping late at night, always at 2:43 a.m. And every few months, someone new moves in, unaware of the stories. Within days, the lights flicker, the walls creak. Then the tapping begins again. No one has lasted longer than 3 weeks. One of the new residents, a man named Alex, decided to document his experience online. His last post read, "I think it's trying to tell me something. It keeps tapping my name now." He hasn't posted since. The house still stands on Wycliffe Lane, quiet, motionless, waiting. And sometimes, when the wind dies down, you can hear the faintest sound if you listen closely. 3 short taps, 3 long, 3 short. SOS. If you ever find yourself walking down that road at night, don't stop. Don't listen. Because once the house knows your name, it never stops calling. And when it finally does, it won't be from the walls. It'll be from inside your own head.